On today's DNVR Broncos podcast, I'm going to tell you how the Broncos are like this beautiful garden right here. 2 weeks ago, there was no garden. Now, it's grown to many different levels. That's what Zach Wilson and Bo Nix have done. Henry and I were at practice today to see both of them, and we are going to break down Zach Wilson and Bo Nix's growth and just how impressed Sean Payton is, starting now. You have those two clips? Oh. Today was Jake Plummer Day out at Broncos training camp. Not because Jason the Snason was out at camp, because it was day number 16 of training camps in the books, meaning we only have 2 more days of training camp. But the biggest camp of practice is coming this Friday. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break down day number 16 of camp starting in just a couple of seconds. Got to welcome you in, of course, to the DNVR Broncos Podcast. We've got Henry Chisholm, Zach Stevens, and you here rocking and rolling with us today. And we're, of course, live in the Toyota Lounge here inside the DNVR Bar. We've already got people inside the bar eating some chips, drinking some beer, and ready to go for some soccer. But we're here to talk about football, Henry, and the Denver Broncos. And, of course, the Toyota Show, or the Toyota Lounge, is brought to you by your local Front Range Toyota stores. If you need a car, go and check them out. And so, Henry, let's just dive into today's practice. First off, what'd you think of today's practice? I
am not feeling it today. I think I'm trying to figure out why exactly. I think because I got enough sleep.
I know why. Okay. Not to diagnose you before you diagnose yourself.
I'm curious if we came up with the same thing. Because I got enough sleep. Okay. I went back and I counted.
Sleep was good.
I woke up, went to the gym, got a coffee, got the exact same breakfast sandwich as always from Starbucks. Exactly the same. But for some reason today, I don't know if I wasn't used to the heat was one possibility because we've had 4 or 5 days off.
Yep, had some air conditioning in that time.
The fact that it was 2.5 hours long.
It was maybe, a grueling one, yeah.
And I'll say I thought it was kind of a pointless practice. Again, maybe that's just my mind state. That might be more me than the practice itself. Or it was the fact that we saw actual football this weekend, and so I'm struggling to get back into camp mode.
Yeah, no, Henry, you're kind of having that debate with yourself. Is it me or is it you? And a breakup.
Yes.
I'll tell you, Henry, it is not you.
Oh, thank goodness.
Not you. It is the situation going on. It's because this felt like a regular season practice. And I think the biggest reason why this kind of felt, well, there's actually 2 reasons why this felt like regular season practice. You hit one of them, is that we just saw preseason football. We saw a real football game this past Sunday. Not just a real football game, but a great football game, at least from an entertainment standpoint.
True.
There's 64 points scored. The Broncos win. The Broncos have 34 points on the board. Bo Nix, the guy who we all want to see look good, goes out and balls out. And then it kind of feels like just a regular season week, because in the regular season, from a media perspective, we're not at the Broncos facility on Monday and Tuesdays. Mondays, it's just we just do a phone call with Sean Payton. Tuesdays, we have it's a player's day off, so we're just in here. And then Wednesdays, practice is back. But there's also one other reason, Henry, why I think this just kind of felt like a regular season practice. Can you guess?
I also thought that maybe for me it was because my brain was tired after 2 days of game grades.
See, I told you it's not you. It's not you. Stop putting this on you, Henry.
Is it? Let's see. There was no more flyovers than usual.
Blame other things.
No refs. I saw Pat Surtain cover Courtland Sutton and make a great play in one-on-ones. I was like, I don't even feel anything right now.
Wow.
Typically, you're like, But no, I can't come up with what it was.
It's because the Broncos are operating as if Bo Nix is the starting quarterback. And that's why it feels...
I got halfway through and decided to emphasize it. I'm trying to bring the energy.
Oh, good. I love that.
Yeah.
And it's because Bo Nix, they're acting like he's a starting quarterback. Sean Payton has not named him the starting quarterback. Sean Payton was asked about it. He says the competition's still going. We'll get to that in just a second. But in the regular season, Henry, there is no quarterback competition. You got your first team, your second team, your third team. You roll through things. Practices are pretty boring in the regular season because there's not as many live periods. You typically don't have that much hitting. Today they didn't have pads on, so there wasn't a lot of hitting. And it's just routine when it comes to the regular season. And you had what you said, you just didn't really feel anything.
Yeah.
It's because the dopamine rush of the past 3 weeks of this quarterback competition, you've just lost it all.
I might be out of dopamine.
Yeah, you just lost it all in the quarterback competition. And now the competition's over, so there's no more dopamine firing with that quarterback competition because this thing is all but over. And it just becomes clearer. Either more clear or clearer. That's not very clear.
It's not the day for me to.
Yeah,
I can't.
that's really
I wish
true.
I could help.
Yeah, it's becoming clearer by the day that this thing is over. Just Sean Payton has not announced it, and in fact, Sean Payton kind of didn't admit that today. But Henry, after practice, we got to see Bo with the first team today, and then after practice, Sean said. Well, yep, obviously we know Bo is starting this Sunday against the Packers in the preseason game, and it's not going to impact how they do joint practice with the Packers. It very much seems likely that Bo Nix is going to get the number 1 reps against the Packers on Friday, which is the biggest training camp practice of camp. So he's getting a preseason start and the biggest training camp practice of camp, and I wouldn't be surprised if Bo Nix gets the starting nod with the ones tomorrow as well. But Sean said essentially, look, we did this last week with Jarrett Stidham. When he was the starter in the preseason game, he got most of the reps with the ones leading up to that game. Bo is getting that same treatment this week. There was just one thing that I had an issue with Sean saying that. Jarrett Stidham didn't get that treatment last week.
The thing is, he got the first day, though, right?
I think so, yeah. He
so it was
still
Jarrett,
got one day
and
last
then
week.
Wednesday, and then Friday, Jarrett, right? It was Monday, Wednesday, Friday?
Okay.
I think.
I
I don't
can go
remember
back
like
and look.
anything
I have it.
strange happening because that would be the normal rotation. So I wonder if because there's only 3 practices this week, if you then say like Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm really excited to not have to do this anymore though.
Do what anymore?
Like the whole like oh sorry
Wow,
Todd
whoa.
would have hated that. Yeah, but like the whole like
if you're listening on the podcast side, you wouldn't understand. You gotta be
I
watching
did the hand
YouTube
thing.
for that one.
Yeah,
The
but
double hand thing.
you know the thing where it's like, well, there's like the slight tweak to the rotation. Like, does it mean that this is, as the chat says, Bover? Like,
Bover, shout out
the Toyota
to,
chat. Yes.
Yeah.
I like. There's a chance it means something. There's a chance it doesn't mean anything, and I just can't wait for the day that like September sounds so nice to me right now. We're just out there, we're playing football, and we're going. Like, it definitely could mean something. That's 3 days in a row for Bo. I think we all know that Bo's in good position. To me, you have to think about is like you're doing the 400-meter race, you know, all one lap around the track, and he's got like 5 meters on second place, and it's like, okay, just don't fall and trip. Don't like if you want, you could even like peek back and take a little look and make sure like, yeah, there you got space. Like you don't have to like full out run, but just don't do like the full turnaround and waste time. You know, like you'd really have to blow this. Really have to bow this. Nah, it doesn't really work. To not win the job, and I think that's where we are.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go a step further. This thing's completely over. He can turn around and just walk the rest of this race backward and still win it. He is the starter. I don't care what happens on Sunday. But Henry, just to fact check something we were talking about.
Yep.
Bo Nix did get 3 of the 5
3
days
last
week.
week?
He
Oh,
got
wow.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Wait,
so Sean
he didn't get Friday.
He got well. Friday was not.
It was
Friday
the
was a
walkthrough.
walkthrough,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it didn't matter. And
So
because
it was 3 Stidham.
But it was really 2 and 2 because
Yeah.
the walkthrough was a walkthrough on Friday.
So then I guess if I was again,
so
who knows what it means, but if I was trying to say like it's the same thing, it would be Stidham got Thursday, Friday leading into the game on the weekend. This week, Bo gets Wednesday, Thursday leading into the joint practice Friday in the games. Like, again, like, is that what they're thinking? Is it not? I have no clue. But, like...
And so, to be fair, Sean could have his reasoning for saying what he said, and that's totally fair. But I'm just going to read right through it and say it's obvious what's going on. Because, Henry, the way you just phrased that is like Sean Payton's PR team. But that's exactly probably how he's trying to think of phrasing it to the media to make it seem like this is still a competition. The end of this result is just that it is over, and we got to kind of see that play out today. And like Henry said, and like we kind of broke down, this felt more like a regular season practice where there wasn't that much oomph at practice. There's not, 50 plays to break down here, but we still do want to break down what we saw. And because we've been talking about Bo Nix, I want to get in to our quarterback scores today after I give a shout out to our friends over at Toyota, where we're sitting in the Toyota Lounge. And if you want to get your hands on a sweet Toyota, whether you want a truck, which they've been in the truck game for generations, people sometimes forget that. They've built durable trucks designed to last for a long time, especially here in Colorado's weather. They've also got the Land Cruiser, so many SUVs from the Land Cruiser. They've also, of course, have the RAV4. They have the Grand Highlander. They have... I mentioned the RAV4 as well.
You did.
I did, yeah. RAV4, big fan of that. And of course, the Prius. How could you forget about the Toyota Prius, which is just part of their 16 different hybrid vehicles to choose from the Tundra iForce Max hybrid truck all the way down to the Prius. If you want a car and you need a new one, used one, go check out our friends over at Toyota. Visit your Front Range Toyota store at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Henry. Where's Stevenson Toyota West?
Aurora?
Lakewood. Toyota,
I was thinking
the official
East.
automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR. Got to keep you on your toes.
Yeah. Also check out Indeed. I was trying to find, I could swear somebody at some point, like there was like a college head coaching job that was posted on Indeed. I can't find it quickly. Well, I'm pretty sure
Football?
it happened. Yeah, because there was like a policy that you have to like post it, and so as it got posted, it has to like go wherever.
And
Typically,
there's 350 million people a month on Indeed. How many do you think applied for that job?
If I remember right, I think a lot of people did.
I bet it would have been a lot.
I think and that's why it became a story. Yeah, Indeed. That's where you can find all sorts of different jobs. I don't have a reason to post on Indeed because I have a job.
Yes.
But there's a real part of me that wants to make a profile just to see, like, what would I get matched with? Because I would be...
Hopefully, like, Broncos beat reporter.
You would think.
Wouldn't that work? Podcaster,
but
writer, reporter.
But, like, if the way that they have their whole matching engine, they said they have so many different preferences and those sorts of different things, 140 million different qualifications and preferences. Like, what if I just put everything about me in there? Like you do that in high school where there's like the what's your career path thing, and then they give you a little card back and it's like you should be an accountant. You pay like $5 for it.
No, never. That sounds fun though.
No, it was fun. It was like a big day every year.
Were you an accountant?
I can't remember what it told me.
It's probably a lot of accountant jobs over in Indeed.
Yeah, definitely a lot of those.
Yeah.
A lot of those. But like if I put in like I've had a zoo membership for like 5 years, like a museum membership for like 2 years, like everything about me that is kind of quantifiable. I wonder what it would match me with.
So we got accounting and zoo.
And then pretty much everything about me, Nugget season ticket holder, Avs season ticket holder, go to a bunch of, like all of a sudden the sports does skew back.
Toyota driver.
Of course.
Coors Light drinker.
Yeah. Interesting. Point is, Indeed is awesome. It'll match you with the correct job for you. Like I said, they have this awesome new system, and the more you use it, the better it gets used to who you are. It's also great for employers, obviously, on that side. 93% of employers agree that Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites. 350 million global monthly visitors. Helps you find quality candidates fast. And if you want to get on there, you can actually get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. Just go to Indeed.com/AllCity right now. Support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply, need to hire, you need Indeed.
And you need to know who won the quarterback battle today. Let's jump into Bo Nix's numbers for the day. Like we said, not a ton to break down, but I mean, it was still a 2.5 hour long practice. Henry went with a 6 for Bo. I went with a 7. For any people new to this show during training camp, just to reset, this does not mean a 70% and a 60%. We did not just give Bo failing grades. The 5 is an average grade, so we both thought Bo was better than average. The score, or the goal is to always get more numbers than Bo Nix has characters in his name.
Bo Nix, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah,
It's
he
5.
did it today,
Yeah.
unless you count the space.
He both did it. Or no, we both had him doing that.
We did.
Today, and I thought this was a good practice from Bo, and we'll talk about later if we thought that he won the day. And like I said, Henry, like the vibe just felt like, oh, this isn't a quarterback competition anymore. It really feels like Bo is carrying himself in a way where, yeah, he's just the starter.
You know what else he was carrying?
Pads.
Jarrett Stidham's helmet off the field today.
Yeah, like he's always going to have to do. Even when he's named the starting quarterback,
Wow.
he's going to be taking the helmets of his 2 backups off the field. That's just the rookie treatment, baby. Which, by the way, I'm fine with. A lot of people aren't fine with that.
They just want attention.
I'm not okay with rookie hazing in terms of like, doing bad things, but like carrying a helmet and pads off the field, I think is acceptable.
I don't know. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're making them do crack or something in the locker room.
Wow. Okay, that took it to
I don't
a
know.
way
Like,
different extent.
I mean, I'm just saying, like,
I'm
it's
not
all.
quite sure that's the
it's a
next
fine
thing
line. Next
that
thing you know, that's yeah.
I've never heard of that fine line before. Yeah, not quite sure.
Next thing you know,
What fine lines do they have up in Montana? That makes me question
we don't have
that
lines
one.
up there.
Okay, so where I really want to focus with Bo is the most important. Well, actually, there was 2 things. There was a red zone period going from the 20, moving in. This was like 75% full speed, 25% jog through, so it was a little hard to determine which ones like you should count. But I thought Bo had a solid red zone period. 2 touchdowns or 2 near touchdowns. So I thought he was sharp in the red zone. Do you have any quick notes on that?
No.
Okay. And then it came to the move the ball period, which of course at the end of the game or at end of practice is the most important part of practice. Broncos have the ball. The offense has the ball. 1:12 left in the game. 1:12 left in the game. 1st and 10, no timeouts. In the 4th quarter, the offense is down 3-0. Let's hope we never see this situation in a game because that means the offense has scored 0 points and they have to go and score some points before the end of the game. But this is a situation. Need a field goal to tie. Need a touchdown to win. After practice, Sean told us, look, when we're starting here, they're also at the defense's 41-yard line. And he said, in this situation, mathematically, analytically, it's about a 50-50.
Leans maybe a little bit to the offense.
Leans maybe a little to the offense, which I totally agree.
Yep.
I think it might just be a little more than a lean. It might be like 60-40. Sean has the analytics, so I'll trust him there.
Usually the analytics are like pretty straightforward. But then when he brings up analytics, it's like, yeah, the analytics are kind of like, it wasn't like a firm, like,
right.
This is 50-50. This is like, it's like, yeah, right.
That's like the, addition typically says this number. It's like, no, addition would always be one number.
And I guess, like, maybe it factors in, like, home versus road, or, like, a good offense versus a good defense, or a bad versus good, or whatever it may be. So I guess there is a little wiggle room in there, but, or, like, high-scoring game versus low-scoring game.
Right, exactly. Not a 3-0 game here. That would probably be favoring the defense in this point.
Odds are you're not getting points.
And so Sean told us after, what he wants to do is he just wants to score. That is his vision going into this. Kick a field goal, tie it, go into overtime. But then when you get to a certain down and distance, he wants a touchdown.
Yep.
And so he changes his mindset at some point. And the way it started for Bo, and one of the things, well, we're not allowed to say what we heard on the field. Let's just say the very first play, I don't think Sean was too thrilled with. He hit P. Ryan for 3 Pirine was tackled inbounds. This is about as
No timeouts.
almost as nightmare of a scenario. The only thing that could have been worse is a turnover or a sack here. But like, if you're gonna stay in bounds, Henry, you want to get a first down.
Yeah.
Like, you want to get a chunk of yards. If you're gonna get 3 yards, get out of bounds.
Yeah.
Don't get 3 yards and stay in bounds. So I don't think Sean was
Yeah.
thrilled with that one. But I guess the good thing is, Bo had the offense just right up at the line again. And then
the little spike.
Yep.
49 seconds left, 3rd and 7.
It was a quick throw, and it was bad at the line.
Oh, okay.
So essentially a spike.
Oh, okay.
49 seconds left. Then on this next one, Baron Browning would have taken Bo Nix's head off. And I don't put this one on Baron or on Bo at all because, I mean, he just completely beat, I'm pretty sure it was Mike McGlinchey off the right side of the line. But then he hits Sutton for a big completion, gets down to the 43-yard line.
Yes, he does. And at which point they decide to spike the ball.
There we go. Yep.
And after that,
Some shenanigans happened on the spike, too. Zach Allen is running back to the line. Of course, the offensive line is set before Zach Allen is. He jumps over the line. And then apparently there was some mimicking of the snap going on by the defense. So the defense and Sean was saying that would be a penalty.
Yep.
They didn't actually give him the penalty, but there was some dirty play going on.
whole bunch of dirty play. I had Jaquan in coverage on that big catch, by the way, too.
And that was for 18 to Sutton. Okay,
Yes.
so that's even more impressive.
Might as well throw it in there.
I like it. So clock 16 seconds left. 2nd and 10 from the 25-yard line. 16 seconds. He was pressured quickly, threw the ball away right away.
Yep.
Like that. 3rd and 10, 12 seconds left. And at this point, Sean has stepped in and said, we're no longer going for a field goal. We're going for a touchdown. So Bo's looking deep, seeing if something's there. The next play, 3rd and 10 from the 25, 12 seconds left. He just throws the ball away, deep left, nothing's there. What you can't do is take a sack because then the game ends and you lose when you're in scoring range. So with a couple seconds left, Sean Payton brings out the field goal unit, 43-yarders, and Will Lutz is
Good.
Oh, go overtime. So Bo, success. Sean Payton said going into this, you want a field goal. You're happy with the field goal, so overtime for Bo Nix. And that was pretty much his day. I mean, there was some good, there was some bad, but overall, he got the team into a good position to kick that field goal.
Yeah, no, it was solid. I mean, that first play was just baffling.
Yeah, you can't. Especially right after the head coach tells you, like, all right, no timeouts.
Yeah, I'm all in on feeding Samaje in those situations.
Yeah, I'm not really.
But in that, hey, the results speak for themselves. For 3 yards stuck in bound
3 days ago? I remember
We're not
that.
talking about preseason results.
Oh, we're not talking about games.
Guess what? 20 years from now, when people talk about Samaje Perine, they're going to talk about what he did to the Chiefs while he was playing for the Bengals in the playoffs, because that's a game that matters. They're not going to talk about what happened in this preseason. Who knows? The story for the rest of this year is still yet to be written, though. All for it. Like, I love the feed Samaje offense. I think it makes a lot of sense. Can't be getting 3 yards inbounds, though. It's just dumb. It's just dumb.
Totally agree. So that's Bo Nix's day. Let's run through these other two guys before we talk about what Sean Payton had to say about Bo Nix and Zach Wilson, which is very eye-opening. But let's give our grades out for Jarrett Stidham today, who, of course, is running with the 2s. Let's see our grades for Stiddy. I got him at a 6.5 just behind Bo. You've got him tied with Bo at a 6. What stood out about Stiddy to you today?
I think he struggled in the first team period. Will miss over the middle that could have been picked by Chris Abrams-Drain.
Oh my gosh. He doesn't throw inaccurate passes.
No.
This was one of them big time. It was just like a yard ahead of Courtland Sutton?
Oh, yeah. He just missed him.
And should have been a pick, like you said.
Yeah. Justin Simmons, the other 31, would have picked it off. Just throwing that out there. He is available.
I didn't catch that one. You threw it out there. I didn't catch it.
Yes.
Yeah.
There. Okay. You get into the red zone stuff. He was good. A couple just the one run. Gets a short throw to Thomas Yasmin, 5 or 6 yards. Short throw to Jaleel. It's probably a first down on 3rd and 3. 3rd and goal, got Tim Patrick in the middle of the field for about 5 yards. Tim got popped hard on that play.
He did.
Wouldn't have been a touchdown probably, but he still celebrated like it would have been. Solid work.
Is that the final one?
Final one, yes.
I think that was Court.
I think that's what I said.
You said Tim.
God,
I swore
dude.
he said Tim.
I'm sorry. I'm a rat.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Henry, on that one. But Sutton caught this in traffic. There probably would have been a penalty for how hard he would have been hit because, a safety. I think it was JL, too. 6'4", 220 safety right there, just flying at you. I think he would have been stopped at the 1. There would have been a flag, so it would have been a new first down. Yep. But yeah, you're right. Sutton got up and spun the ball in the end zone on JL, and JL's probably like, dude, you would have been done.
It's one of those where, because we're like standing right there on the goal line, and you're just like 50-50. Court's about to get up and get in somebody's face.
Yep.
10% chance, 20% chance that this is going to turn into a fight right here because he hit him.
Yep.
Court took the high road and just gave him the big old spin of the ball. I was like, oh, that's glad to see it because that could have gotten ugly.
Yep. And really quick, just since we're talking about Court, he's had a very solid camp, I think.
Doing his thing.
He really is. And we got to see it really in the preseason game. I think the very first pass from Stidham was to Court. Yep, exactly. And then, of course, Bo's first completion was to Court, where Court did a great job getting open on the route. So he is going to be a player. It's good the Broncos have him. And then to end out practice, of course, it's the same situation. Looking for a field goal, but a touchdown would be even better. And this is how Stidham wins the day. If he's going to, he gets a touchdown. So scramble, he gets a short completion. Or no. Yeah, a 5-yard completion to start. 107, but out of bounds, right?
Yep.
107 left on the clock from the 46-yard line. Then he hits Devon Bailey down to the 39-yard line.
Yes.
So you're sitting there, 59 seconds left, 1st and 10 from the 39-yard line. The goals have completely changed now. You're pretty much in field goal range, but you got 59 seconds left. You can get a touchdown here. So you got to see that mindset from Sean Payton start to change. A quick toss to Devon Bailey again for 5. Then, but he's still in bounds. So then they run up to the line, spike it. So 2nd and 5 with 43 seconds left. Just a quick, no. I totally messed that up. He hits with 59 seconds left from the 39-yard line. He hits Devon Bailey down to the 5-yard line.
There we go. Back to back.
It's a big-time throw to Devon Bailey down the left sideline, but he wasn't able to get out of bounds. That's okay when you have a big completion, when it gets that was 34 yards. So they run up to the 5-yard line, spike it. So you're looking at 43 seconds left. 2nd and 5, or 2nd and goal from the 5. This is now you should win the game right here.
Yes. So he throws it to Marvin, and it's incomplete because Chris Abrams drained his in coverage.
Yep.
And then, no more thoughts. And then, good rush on the next play from Jonah Ellis. I didn't think he was going to get a sack or anything, but it was a good move. Got back there. Riley Moss in coverage. In the back of the end zone. He tries to throw in high for Devon Bailey, but it's just a little too high. Good contest. Nothing really there. And they didn't actually kick the field goal, but they would have kicked the field goal, tie the game. After that field goal, though, there still would have been 25, 30 seconds left.
Oh, that's a good point.
So, yeah. Again, it's no big deal.
We know some quarterbacks in this league that's too much time for.
Bo Nix?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, it's too much time for
Only
Jarrett
if he has
Stidham to
Samaje.
leave Bo Nix. Well, if he has Devon Bailey, it's too much time. That's for sure. So that's an interesting point about the clock, though. But that was probably Sean Payton's call to spike it there. So I'm not going to hold that against Stiddy. But at the end of the day, Stidham got way further on the field.
Yes.
But it accounted for the exact same number of points. And the reason why I gave Bo Nix the leg up on today just barely is because Stidham had that should have been interception, and Bo did not. Okay, let's dive into not only Zach Wilson's day, because he had a shorter day than the other two, but what his role is for this team moving forward, because we got some insight from Sean after practice about that. But first, I want to tell you about our friends over at Game Time. We're over at Game Time. You guys know the drill. Use that code DNVR to get $20 off your first purchase over at Game Time. Henry, are the Rockies at home?
They're down 5-0 right now.
They're down.
Second inning.
Wow, I bet you could get a steal on a ticket over at Game Time right now.
Yeah.
And the second inning for a Rockies game with $20 off, you're getting in for free.
Yes.
If you want to go to a Rockies game that hasn't started yet, still use that code DNVR, and it will still get you in for free because you can get tickets for Rockies games under $20. But if you want to go to a big ticket event like Broncos Steelers Week 2 in Denver, use that code DNVR over at Game Time. Plus concerts, any events, Game Time is everywhere. NHL, NBA, NFL, and of course MLB. Use DNVR's code over at Game Time. And of course, download the app for the best experience. Terms apply. Create an account and use that code DNVR for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
Also, Bet365 is awesome. I made some bets yesterday. Some of them very good, others on the Rockies. And
when will you learn, Henry?
So yesterday, they had this promotion where if you make enough bets on baseball parlays, then you get a free bet. And so I was like, okay, well, let's make sure we get that. And I did it so well because they had to be like even odds. So I took Jordan Beck, who is now healthy, the rookie, to get a hit, and combine it with a couple like super easy things, like Rockies to not lose by more than 5.
Wow.
Hit like 2 strikeouts
odds
for the pitcher. Yeah, there was one other little thing in there, but it was just because I had to. It was like no triples maybe for some Diamondback. I hit a couple of those. I also was like, hey, why not just take the money line? Because the odds are really good. You got the good vibes. You got Bradley Blaylock, the prospect they traded for, 23-year-old making his Rockies debut pitching. He was awesome. Blew the lead in the 9th inning and lost the game. So that one sucked. But I still wound up making quite a bit of money, which is nice. If you want to make even more money, you can get 15-1 odds on the Rockies right now. Put $1 on it. You wind up with $16, and there's your ticket that you can use at Game Time. Bet365 has a whole bunch of cool offers. They always have the Super Boost, which are awesome. And it's almost football season, which is going to be a really fun time to bet. Oh, we were talking about this. Broncos 7-point favorites against the Packers this weekend. Packers aren't playing their starters.
Yeah.
At least what we know so far is Matt LaFleur said he doesn't anticipate playing most of his starters.
Right.
Which means he's not playing them because the Packers never do anyway.
His starters.
Yeah. So again, like you get the Broncos starters against the backups for the Packers. You get Jarrett Stidham and the second teamers against their third stringers.
Yeah.
You got Zach Wilson in to seal the deal. 10-13 Zach Wilson. I kind of like that one too. So use the code.
I love that one. It's a great find, Hank.
Use the code DNVR365 to sign up. You can deposit $10. Choose between either a bet and get offer. You place a bet of $5 or more, get $150 in bonus bets. Or a first bet safety net offer where you place a bet up to $1,000, and if the qualifying bet loses, you receive a match refund and bonus bets. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Man, Zach Wilson.
Must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. Did I already say this? If you're somebody who has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Zach Wilson,
I didn't say that. Okay.
Henry, would have won the day today if his wide receivers would have helped him out. Might have won the day, I should say, if his wide receivers would have helped him out. But Zach just continues to impress me. The very first week was for sure Jarrett Stidham week. The second week was Bo Nix trending up week. Last week in training camp was Zach Wilson trending up, and Bo Nix also continuing to trend up. But it was like, okay, Zach, I see what you've got. The Broncos got to be thrilled with your development. Then in the game he goes out. I know he's playing against third and fourth string guys, but he was playing against them. You can only do what the cards you were dealt, and he balled out in that game. And today I thought he just continues to continue. He continues to continue his development. That did make sense, I think.
In its own way, yeah.
Yeah, he continues to develop. How about that? And I mean, it started off in 7-on-7s at the beginning of camp where he could have had 2 touchdowns. The first one, he goes deep to Troy Franklin. Would have been a 45-yard touchdown. He hits Troy in stride. And his ball just goes right through Troy Franklin's hands. Would have been in the end zone for a 45-yard touchdown, but instead Troy's not able to hang on. Yeah,
we're at a weird place with Troy Franklin where the one thing he's really good at is going deep because he's so fast. He just can't catch the ball when he does it.
That's an issue.
So what does that mean? Do you not run him deep because you know that he's just going to get open and there's a 75% chance he's not going to hold on. It's going to be an incompletion. It's a weird spot. But I was also thinking recently, though, so Troy Franklin, like you look around and everybody's panicked about Troy Franklin. It's like, oh, is he not going to be all that good? Like, whatever. He's a 4th-round pick. You know who the Broncos' last 4th-round pick before Troy Franklin was?
Josie Jewell.
Iniu Uzurike.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's like, he's like this afterthought now. It's like, oh, he's just some defensive line. Well, we'll see. Like, 4th-round picks are good prospects, but they aren't necessarily like great players. So as excited as you are about Troy Franklin, and have been, and I'm not saying you shouldn't be, I would just say whatever that level is, be equally as excited about any. There's my piece of advice, because those are two very similar prospects in a lot of ways.
Well, and we'll talk about Devon Vele later, but I think Devon Vele is hurting Troy Franklin because of how well a 7th-round rookie is doing, and people are saying, well, shouldn't we be getting 4th-round production out of Franklin if we're getting 7th-round production out of Devon? Well, Broncos aren't getting 7th-round production out of Devon. They're getting first-round production out of Devon so far right now. So
if you want to be crazy, you'd say you're getting Puka Nacua production out of him.
Wow, the Broncos are getting better than Puka Nacua production out of Devon Vele. I'm going to be even crazier right there. I love it. We'll talk about Devon in just a little bit.
Also with Troy Franklin, he is really exciting. He's also very young. And I think that part kind of gets lost. I can't remember where he was as a recruit. I can double check, but I'm pretty sure he was a 5-star recruit.
I wouldn't be surprised, yeah.
Yeah. 4-star recruit, number 3 wide receiver in the country. So he's a number 3 wide receiver recruit in the country. He goes to Oregon, leads them in receiving at least twice, maybe 3 times, finishes 8th in the country in receiving yards, or 6th in the country, in receiving yards last year. This is an awesome recruit, awesome prospect who has lived up to the hype at every level. He's also just only 21 years old. So just because he's having a slow start, this probably should have been maybe just a little bit expected. Whereas a Devon Vele, as he said today, he's an older prospect. He's 5 years older than Troy Franklin. He's got to be able to show up and be productive right now.
5 years older is insane considering they're both rookies right now. But it's a really good point to remember, because a lot of people in the Toyota chat are freaking out. Oh my gosh, Troy Franklin's Jerry Jeudy 2.0. He's going to be dropping everything left and right. Well, you remember about Jerry Jeudy? How much did he struggle with drops his rookie season? A ton. I think he had the most or the second most drops. KJ Hamler had either the second most or the most drops in the NFL, right next to Jerry Jeudy. But then Jerry Jeudy actually stopped dropping passes after his rookie season. Maybe we'll see that from Troy Franklin. Maybe this will be a year where he drops passes when he is on the field. He's not going to drop a ton of passes because I don't think he's going to be on the field that much.
Also true.
But he is more of a development. And we did see drops go away with Jerry Jeudy to an extent. Maybe we can see that with Troy Franklin. But that is something he struggled with in college, so it's not a big surprise that he struggles with this now. He has to work on that, especially because there were some reports that some teams had him graded as a 2nd-round pick. And so I think Broncos fans being excited, and I totally get this, are like, oh my gosh, the Broncos got a 2nd-round pick in Troy Franklin. And it's like, okay, well, that's maybe the upside is certainly a 2nd-round pick, but let's not say he was a 2nd-round pick and hold him to 2nd-round pick standards, because he wasn't. Every team passed up on him 3 times. So let's just remember, and I think it's a very good point, that 4th-round picks, most of the time, take a while to develop. So let's not be out on Troy Franklin now, but he does need to catch the ball.
Sure would be a step in the right direction.
It would be. It certainly would be. And then later in that exact same period, Zach Wilson was picked off, but it wasn't really his fault. I mean, he threw a pass about 15 yards down the field to David Sills, who was running across the field, and he put it in stride. I thought the pass was just slightly too far out ahead. Henry, you thought it was perfectly out ahead? Oh, well, fully extend those arms. And then a little bit more. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it should have been either 5 inches lower, 5 inches closer, or 3 inches on the angle in between, and it would have been just perfectly on the money.
Fair.
It would have been in that target.
And I totally agree with that. But it did still hit both of David's hands.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't even the fingertips. It did hit his hands. So he should have caught it. Instead, the ball pops up in the air and right into the defense's hands into Omar Brown's hands for an easy interception. So I put most of that on David Sills because it did his hands. It could have been a better pass, but man, I don't really hold that against him much.
No. And I think even going back through, and this is one of those things where I probably should just not say anything about Bo, but Bo in 7-on-7s, there was one throw that was on the back hip for Devon Vele. He was on a drag route instead of out in front, so he kind of had to pause and grab it and then turn back. Again, that's probably it's definitely further off target than the Zach Wilson throw that winds up being intercepted. It's just a bad break.
Right. Exactly. And then the very last period that Zach got, because Sean Payton did not give him the ball and move the ball period, which we'll talk about. So his red zone period, his very first pass was a hospital ball. I mean, he would have sent this receiver to the hospital. It was a catch, though. So the defense was acting like it was, a big-time hit. Then he hits Philidorf set short. Then he's nearly picked off. Number 35 did a great job jumping that route.
Reese Taylor.
Yep, Reese Taylor did not catch it, and then incomplete the left side. So overall, I thought Zach Wilson's day was pretty good. Could have been better, but I guess also there was a dropped interception by the defense, and that wasn't really a dropped interception. It would have been a heck of a play for Reese Taylor to make that play. So overall, I thought it was an above average day.
Did you get the wheel to bandy?
I don't think so. No.
Deep up the sideline, that was a touchdown. That was like a 40-yard touchdown.
Oh, yes. I totally missed that. That was the throw of practice today.
Yep.
Thank you for bringing that up.
He was wide open, but Zach hit him.
It's because there was pressure in his face. He's scrambling to the right, sprinting to the right, and just throws this effortless pass. And it was so effortless, and it was just a great pass to Michael Bandy down the right sideline. You're absolutely right. That is what took this to a score of, I think, 6 for me today. It was a really, really good play by Zach. But then Henry, in the move the ball period, we've seen this a couple of days ago, or we've seen this a couple of times in training camp, where Bo Nix gets to try and move the ball, Stidham gets to try to move the ball, and then Zach Wilson doesn't. And today, Zach Wilson didn't get it again. And that's honestly the only thing that's keeping me from saying, like, this backup job is wide open. I still think that Zach Wilson can get this backup job, but he needs to be getting these important reps in practice. And if Sean keeps cutting him off from it, that's the only thing that's keeping me from saying, man, Zach Wilson's really in this backup competition.
Those fingers usually don't go through those, though.
Yeah.
Like, I think even last year, like, Danucci maybe got his 1 or 2, just like Zach Wilson's got his 1 or 2.
But at what point does Zach Wilson start getting those in order to be the backup?
It just changes the structure of practice a little bit, because those ones are just so time-consuming. Whereas the others, you go out there and it's just like, we're going to run 4 plays. Like this one, it's like, again, Bo, pass, spike, pass, and kick the field goal. And so, like, you just have to change the structure of practice, and getting that work for the threes at this point is just unlikely. And I think, honestly, I think they're just keeping all 3. Like, I don't think it's like I think they've seen enough.
I like that. So my counter to what
say
you
they're
said,
keeping all 3.
My counter to what you said right before that was, well, why not just have Zach run with the 2s for those every other time? Because I think they did it 2 or 3 times last week, and I don't think Zach got any of them. They could have thrown him in for one of those and had Stidham sit out for one of them. So that would be my only counter for that.
Once they say Bo's the starter, then you can do that.
Then you open up that competition.
Again, when everybody's microanalyzing every little tweak, if one of these days Stidham was like, again, in that drill, he would have been technically with the 3s, with Wilson with the 2s. You're sending a signal to Stidham that you're actually not in this anymore. And I don't think you want to send signals. You just want to say it's over when you decide it's over.
Well, and you mentioned something about how you think they're keeping 3.
Yes.
Let's talk about that, because Sean Payton had some very interesting things to say about Zach Wilson and Bo Nix after practice, and I want to get into those after I tell you who to chill with. Chill with us. You're chilling with us right now? Grab a Coors Light if you want to chill tonight, over the weekend, with friends. If you want to chill from a hot day in the sun, our friends over at Coors Light have the perfect beer for you to chill with, because everything about Coors Light is chilling, whether it's with family, friends, in front of a game, because they brew their beer chilled, they bottle their beer chilled, they serve their beer chilled, and even the bottles, if you're not at a bar, their bottles tell you when the beer is chilled to the perfect temperature, because the cans turn blue on the mountains when it's just right to drink. So if you need to get some beers for this weekend, check out our friends over at Coors Light. Or if you want to get beer sent straight to your house, go to CoorsLight.com/DNVR, where that will get Instacart to deliver Coors Light straight to your door. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Also, check out BetterHelp. A lot of people going through a bunch of different things in life, and BetterHelp is here to help. If you wind up not being named the starting quarterback, you wind up not getting the backup job either. If you get cut, a lot of guys are going to get cut. A lot of bad things are going to happen. And those are just the football players. For those of us who, again, like I said today, they were doing those one-on-ones with the receivers and the cornerbacks, and I just didn't I wasn't feeling it for the first time in all of training camp, because usually you watch those and it's like, oh, this is awesome, Pat Surtain, Courtland Sutton. So whether you have big problems or little problems, it's always good to have somebody you can talk to, and BetterHelp is certainly somewhere that you can talk to. They're perfect if you're just trying to start therapy. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, suited to your schedule. All you got to do is just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. And if you don't like the one that you're matched with, then you can switch therapists at any time. If you want to become your own soulmate, whether you're looking for one or not, you can visit betterhelp.com/DNVR today. Get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/DNVR.
All right, so let's play this clip of Sean talking about Zach Wilson's development and where he is right now. And when you are listening to this, just think when you hear Sean talking about this, does this sound like a player that the Broncos would cut in less than 2 weeks? Let's hear it, you hear.
I felt his reps in the game were really good. I mean, number one, there's a poise because he's been there. And then I felt like he was real comfortable. Again, we were in and out of the huddle. You know, there was no clock issue. I mean, all of that was smooth, but then his decision making, and he's aggressive. I like that he's going to take shots. He's got a good live arm. I thought he had a real good game, and I'm encouraged. You know, I like what I'm seeing, and that's, you know, one of the pluses about bringing someone like him in here. You know, that position's so important, and look, the focus on Bo, understandably so, is when you draft a quarterback in the first round, like every one of us recognizes the significance of getting that position settled and having that position who we feel like we can win with. And then, because when that's unsettled, then it's tough on your team. And so, but I like the way he played. And, I mean, you felt it on the sidelines. You felt, you know, experience, just poise. You know, even in the timeout where we're going to try to draw them off sides, I gave him a hard time. You know, can your squeaky voice get these guys off sides? You know, like I just challenge him. I've never heard your hard count yet. Let's see. And then, so he did it. But it's a good group to work with. And I know the offensive coaches feel that way. I feel that way. I like where we're at right now. And that's encouraging for our team. That's encouraging for the team. Because when that's unsettled and maybe not as far along, then there's a lot of things you can do well, and yet the team sees that there's a ceiling maybe on what you can do.
If I'm Zach Wilson, man, I'm celebrating, I'm crying, I'm laughing, I'm sobbing all throughout that clip. I mean, the highs and the lows there, taking a shot at his voice, but pretty much saying like, I love this guy. This is everything we could have wanted and more when we traded for Zach. Henry, I would be shocked unless Zach Wilson goes out and absolutely regresses in these next 2 weeks in practice and in the games. I would be shocked if they cut him. The only way I see Zach Wilson being off this team is if they trade him for something more than what they got him for. And maybe a team does say, oh, wow, this Zach Wilson guy looks fixed. Looks like the New York Jets were just stupid. Let's go trade for him and see what they got. Maybe Minnesota, maybe a team that it loses a quarterback in these next few weeks. But I just don't see this being a guy that they cut. They knew who they were trading for. They were trading for a very talented player that has been bad. And he's only gotten better. So if he's only gotten better and continues to get better, why would you cut him? I don't see this as a scenario right now.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that they're all sticking around is where I'm at. I think Zach Wilson is he's on schedule. You know, I think that some people, I think fans maybe have a bit of a skewed perspective of him because they only saw the preseason game and they haven't seen all the practices we've seen where things haven't gone his way quite as much. But obviously you have to give him credit for going 10 for 13 in that game. Like he did his job. You know, we talked about before the game, a lot of the time for Zach Wilson, the question is, when you gave the defender a chance to pick the ball off, did he do it? And he had that post to Marvin Mims, should have been a touchdown, left in a bad place. Defender didn't pick it off. And that would have been the play that could swing the day. It also could have made it just an incredible day if he'd hit it. But yeah, I think there's still obviously some flaws. There's obviously some things that are going well, and I don't think there's any reason to bail on the experiment right now. Just seems like it'd be a strange time. The only thing that gives me any doubt about the Broncos keeping 3 is just that you could save $5 million if you moved on from Stidham. I don't think that's enough money to make a big difference in the grand scheme of things. To me, you just keep all 3, especially knowing that you probably aren't a team that's getting comp picks next year just because you're going to be bringing in so many free agents. But you want that formula working in your favor. And I think that keeping those guys in the building makes sense for a lot of reasons. And I think that if you tried to move one of them to the practice squad, just looking around, like Jake Hayner's the backup for the Saints. I think I'd rather have Zach Wilson than Jake Hayner. Sean Clifford backup for the Packers. I'd rather have Zach Wilson. Easton Stick for the Chargers. He's been there so long that maybe it's different. But I think I'd be tempted to.
I agree.
So I think that you can kind of run through this list and at least find a handful of potential landing spots. So I don't think you're getting to the practice squad, so I think you just hold on.
And then the other massive thing that Sean even admitted today is this position is so important.
I've heard that, yes.
And unless, you've heard that
Yes.
that the quarterback has
Yes.
a little bit of value.
Yes.
And with Sean just admitting it, obviously he knows that, but admitting it is just even more telling that, like, and I've seen some people in the Twitter chat like, well, if you keep 3 quarterbacks, you can only keep 4 running backs. Okay. Like, if Samaj AP Ryan has to go so you can keep 3 quarterbacks and continue to develop Zach Wilson, fine. If you have to let Blake Watson hit the streets so that you can keep Zach Wilson and Jarrett Stidham and Bo Nix to have a better quarterback room than you thought you were going to have to, fine. Blake Watson is not going to be the difference maker this season for the Broncos. The quarterback position is more important. And so I just think that it's very clear that that is what it's trending to, except if Zach Wilson goes out there and balls out these next 2 weeks and shows the team, no, I can be your backup this year. Then they only keep 2, and it's not Zach Wilson they're cutting. It's Jarrett Stidham, and like you said, you save $5 million. So, Henry, we also talked to Sean about Bo Nix today. Asked him after watching the film, what did you see? Because if you remember after the postgame show, when he was asked about Bo Nix, he wanted to make sure this quarterback competition remained a competition, at least in like the public talk. So anytime he was asked about Bo Nix after the game, he said, oh, all 3 quarterbacks are doing good. All 3 quarterbacks did this well, did that well. Well, today he had a different tune when talking about Bo Nix. Here's what he had to say after watching the film. Coach, after watching the film, what stood out about Bo to you?
A few things. Look, his decision-making was good. I felt he was comfortable in the pocket. Thought his locations were good. The number one thing to do with quarterback is lead your team. And, we scored. There's 2 plays where I think he can set his feet and he's kind of backing up a little. We can clean that up. But I like the production with his group while he was in there, and ultimately that's their job. The whole group as a whole, when I'm talking about the 3 of them, we didn't have any sacks. There were a lot of positives.
Yep, that sounds like the guy he's ready to crown the starting quarterback next week, willing to now give him his flowers. And I think the transition has started, Henry, of like after the game, Sean wanted to go back and look at the film, but now we're seeing it by his words with how much he praised Bo Nix today and his actions by really transitioning to giving Bo pretty much all of the starting reps this week. That is why I think what I said yesterday holds. I think next week on Wednesday, Bo Nix is named the Broncos starting quarterback to the team. And then we also hear from the media that has happened as well. All the positive things said about him. Said the number one most important thing is to lead your team to scoring drives. Well, if it wasn't for Lucas Kroll just fumbling the ball away, they would have scored on every single scoring drive that Bo had with the team. So I just come away even more impressed with Bo, like we broke down yesterday. If you want to get into the film, we broke that down yesterday on the show.
Yeah, no, he just needs to not fall on his face.
Yep.
Like you've got 2 big days left. You got the joint practice. You got the game. joint practice matters because your teammates will see it. Coaches will see it. I think the game matters much more, though, because that's something that everybody sees. So especially given the fact that you're playing against the twos, if you go out there and things don't go as well as they did last week, all of a sudden you're going to have some pretty big questions about whether you can actually name him the starter, especially if Jarrett Stidham did what he did last week, because he also, he had a really good game. He just kind of got screwed over by his teammates either giving the ball to the defense or having penalties or all that sort of stuff. Again, it's not because the other guys, it's not because Jarrett Stidham doesn't look ready to start. It's just that Bo does look ready, and if he's ready, he's going to be the guy, and he has, again, Friday and Sunday to make it clear that he is ready, and then you can name him the starter after.
So we might have just got a little bit of a tease as to when this will happen, and it follows in line with what I've been saying. Of course, our friend Kay Adams from Up in Adams was out at Broncos practice today, meaning she got to interview Sean Payton right after practice, and a little quote came out. She said, she asked him, why haven't you named Bo Nix a starting quarterback yet? And Sean Payton's answer was, the band's still playing. They have one more song to go, and I'm not ready to do it with all the positions. And actually, in that clip, if you look, Henry and I are in the background just walking by. So go watch that clip that's on Up and Adams' show on Twitter. And he said something interesting there, Henry. The band's still playing, and they have one more song to go. Well, there's 2 preseason games left, so it tells you there's really one more preseason game left in this competition. That is this Sunday. Bo's the starter. It is all led up to this moment. Just don't absolutely lose it. And even if he absolutely loses it, I still think he's a starter. But for Sean's perspective, go out there, look like you did last week, and you will be the starting quarterback next Wednesday. And then we will fully be in regular season mode, talking about Bo Nix as the starting quarterback for the Broncos regular season week 1 game. Just want to give a shout out to Devon Vele, who had a monster game today. We broke down some of his big plays today. He just continues to impress. This guy isn't just going to make the team, he's going to have a big role on the team. And then one other guy that we kind of mentioned in passing who had a really big day, Baron Browning. He continues to really be the Broncos' best pass rusher, for at least from the outside linebacker position. Today he had 2 or 3 potential sacks that he just, he got there, and the quarterback held onto the ball for 2 or 3 seconds after in order to throw the ball. He was there that quick.
Yep. Good to see Nick Bonito back, too.
It is. Yep.
He looks fast. It seems like a minor thing that's happening, but I think they called it a back tweak early on. Yeah. And he's kind of been in and out ever since then. But it's good to see him back there. He looks like himself. He looks fast, especially like that first 2 steps. And everybody was back today. Brandon Jones was back today. I think Sean said afterward, everybody who didn't play last week should be good to go this week.
Including our guy, Pat Surtain.
Yeah, including Pat Surtain, which required a clarifying question. Like, did you just say that Pat Surtain's playing in this preseason game? The answer is yes.
And when Sean said yes, is that okay?
Is that okay? Yeah.
Little sass from Sean. I love it. And you wouldn't believe it. In the Toyota chat, Henry, I've won over crumble cookies. I never thought I would see the day.
Oh,
Maybe
boy.
that means we'll get some crumble cookies on this show. But shout out to the Toyota chat. Shout out to Alex. Shout out to Hot Soup. Shout out to Carter. Shout out to Ivan. Shout out to Tommy, for everyone who's tuning in with us today. Shout out to you here for putting this show together. Henry for being down at a 2.5-hour practice with me. We'll be back tomorrow. Broncos have one more practice. And before we get out of here, we got one super chat to hit really quick. And the super chat comes in from our friend, the Blythe Swordsman, who says, I need to save money so I won't be able to donate as often. But thanks for the follow on Twitter, Zach. I really enjoy the show. That means a lot to me. I really enjoy your support on Twitter. I really try to follow anyone that interacts with us on the show, that interacts with us on Twitter, that is a nice person on the internet, because it's easy to not be a nice person. I really appreciate the people that are nice people on the internet. So I appreciate everyone who's rocking and rolling with us today. We'll be back tomorrow after practice. 1:30 to 2 p.m. is when we should be getting rolling. Hit us with a thumbs up on the way out. Thank you guys so much. Happy Hump Day.
We all silly like the mayor.